Well, hello and welcome to Move the Stairs, episode 66. And guys, today we're live. This is so fun. We're so glad that everybody is joining us today for this live recording of the Move the Stairs conversation.
We're also so excited because we are going to be joined by Franny Tacy from Franny's Farmacy to talk about how she's building a resilient CBD and THC brand. Franny has 8 stores, many in the Southeast and one in Connecticut, which also sells recreational THC. She was recently interviewed by our friend Kristen Nichols, who you all know from MJ Business Daily, about what Franny sees as the future of CBD stores and more how things are going to change as states start approving more and more recreational cannabis. So we're going to talk to her about how important it is for CBD businesses to create superior customer loyalty while differentiating themselves, which is so important, by morphing into hybrid experiences, selling hemp products alongside THC products.
Well, and if you go to Franny's website, which you should, because there's lots of great information on there, and that's frannysfarmacy.com, you will see that she is a thought leader. And that's a term that we talk about all the time. And one of the things that means is that she is constantly interviewed by reporters. And we're going to learn how she positioned herself as part of our insider media relations discussion.
And then lastly, it's clear that Franny's a visionary. We just talked about how she's a thought leader in the cannabis space. So we're going to talk to her about where she sees the industry moving here in the next 6 months, because it almost feels like we're right on the edge, like right on the precipice of some big changes potentially happening. So she's going to talk about some challenges and some opportunities that you should be considering so that you can build a resilient CBD brand. And that's going to round out our conversation for today. So why don't we bring Franny into the studio? Hey, hi, Franny. How are you?
Hello. I am fantastic. I'm at MJ Unpacked here in New York City right now. So we're having a really big and deep, grasping, life-changing conversations about where this industry is going, because it's changing all the time, and it's us that are moving it in the right direction. So
absolutely. I mean, there are so many states that are changing laws and regulations, and the FDA came out today and said, yep, we got to be doing more. So it almost feels like we are just so close to some massive changes here in the industry. And we're so glad that you're here to talk to us about that, because it's important to be planning now for what's going to be happening in the future. So Sarah, take it away.
Well, yeah, it is really important. As a multi-state operator, we're in 6 states. We have 15 dispensaries. We are franchising. So some of these issues that we've got a lot of legacy people that deal with on state to state, I mean, for us is federal. It's big. What is most important right now is that we are combining and collaborating within our industry to move everything forward. So it's amazing. This is the hustle and bustle, and this is on a private investors floor. This is like above the expo, and where all the speakers, we've had national speakers here, and we're all talking about what we get to talk about right here. Where are we going? What's the future of CBD and hemp? There is an amazing market for all cannabis products, and we'll see that go beyond CBD and hemp. But right now we have major, big legislative issues to address.
Oh my gosh, Franny, you've got so much cooking, and it's so evident how you are dedicated to the whole industry. But I want to start out with something that is really of concern, I would think, for every single cannabis industry business, which is building customer loyalty. Like, you're not a business unless you have customers streaming in the door and coming back to you. And one of the reasons we wanted to talk to you today is because you are so passionate, obviously, about cannabis and believe in providing your customers with education, and in addition to the high quality products that you have. So can you talk about your customers and who your target audience is, and why did you go after that particular target audience?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, customers are everything, and we're in a new era of customers too, in that they're more conscientious consumers, and I think we absolutely naturally attract who we are. So we have different ways we make revenues between e-com, wholesale, retail, our retail stores and franchises, and e-com, all these different ways. But our customers are loyal. That's what we count on, and that is because it's a trusted brand. They didn't even know anything. They just didn't know a lot about it, but we've been leading the industry in self-regulating. And because it's an unregulated industry, this is one way. Women have a lot of battles out there, we're, equal pay and all this other stuff, but we are definitely more trustworthy in this industry, as we see. And that is the customers we've targeted, that we attract. 25 to 55 women are our major consumers and most repeat customers online.
Well, and it's so exciting to see women in this space. In the whole cannabis space, we're still a serious minority. So I'm thrilled to see you as a thought leader representing us so well and so beautifully. So I'm interested in how your ideas on developing customer loyalty have evolved over the years. For instance, you have a great way of telling your story, like the story you told Cannabis Products Magazine about how you really delved into the cocoa market to understand that market before you recently launched your new bonbon line of infused chocolates. So how important is storytelling in really pulling those customers in and developing that loyalty?
Well, first of all, the basis of all of that is being authentic. So I was in pharmaceuticals, and then I bought a farm. So that's why we say Franny's Farmacy, Farmacy. So that's where the story really launched. And I love what you're talking about. It's all about stories. So it came to my awareness as I love dark chocolate. That is my daily treat. What is really behind the chocolate industry? And I just was like, what is going on? Ended up researching. I was like, I've got to find the best chocolatiers. It's one of the things that I do. I love mentors. I'm going to go find the best and learn from them. So we found Fritz, who comes from over a century of chocolatiers, to go and search and find I needed fair trade chocolate and fair trade packaging. So as part of our B Corp, another story, another aligned in values, and another something being authentic. If y'all don't know about B Corp, look it up. It's an international certification that says this company gives back, that we do things differently. And it is very comprehensive to be able to get that certification. But that's the story. We went to Nepal. So our fair trade chocolate comes from Nepal, our fair trade packaging, and our textile brand that's about to come out with purses and backpacks. Some other specialty items are being sewn by women on sewing machines in Nepal. In October, we'll be filming the documentary on that. That's what we do. We just make people love us because they want to know more. Like, what is she up to? I am free. I have grown children, and it is nothing about other than the experience and education and having fun. I had a forestry degree. My master's was in education. My Smithsonian Institute PhD coursework was about teaching. So this is what I love. I've been doing it forever, my whole life. So I think that makes a huge difference. I'm here in a conference and everybody's competing on something. I'm like, nobody's ever seen Franny. They broke the mold, right? We're all individuals. And this is why they call me the Franny Force, because I'm so curious. And when there were no answers, I just go figure it out.
We love that. We call that moving the stairs. That's what you do, Franny. We're so
absolutely. So I love the kind of food metaphor we've got going here, Franny. So, what is the secret sauce to coming up with the customer loyalty? Are you seeing it more with the purpose-driven products, like you mentioned with the bonbons? And if so, how do you make sure that your franchisees are, extending those same values so that they're representing your brand as a whole? How are you making sure that they can replicate the hard work that you've put into it?
I love that question. I love that question. First and foremost, I'm really glad that we attract what we are and we're mirrors. So, one of my biggest self love aspects is to look and love the people that work with me, and those are our franchisees. There is only 10% even qualify for the eligibility, and out of that, only about 3% are even accepted.
Wow.
We didn't want to do what was big. These people that got into it just for the money, they opened hundreds of stores and they've closed hundreds of stores.
Right.
Again, we build it on the story. Two of our franchisees in North Carolina and the most recent one in Alpharetta, they're pharmacists. That backs up our brand because they are the most, they need to make sure everything, they are going to check us out deeper than anybody has. We have another one that's a high-end designer. We incorporate hemp wood into our franchise models, into our dispensary designs. So who we work with, we have an amazing couple that's launching in Florida that is opening into the Spanish-speaking community. And it's our franchisees are the story. I have them speak. People say, "Oh, are you Franny?" And the answer is yes, but you can call me Sandra, or you can call me whatever you want. We are all Frannies. My name has been Francis until I was 45. Franny's is a brand, and what it stands for is these values and mission, and our franchisees are the best examples of it.
Love that.
Oh my gosh. Just such enthusiasm. You're such a joy to talk to.
Absolutely.
We love it. So, Franny, one of the things that we specialize in is insider media relations, and it's sort of hard to understand what that is, but being prepared for every media opportunity and taking advantage of it, and from TED Talks to network news shows to industry publications, you find the time while building this incredible business to focus on that kind of insider media relations outreach. So tell us why you put such a priority on that kind of media outreach.
Well, third-party endorsements are the best anyway.
Yep.
That is the best. I do not pay for advertising to go tell anybody that I am the best. It is most important because the media and press, and I tell everybody, just like I said earlier, find a mentor, that's what franchising does. Media and press is so important because it builds your reputation and the trust factor. So my key to being able to get media all the time is it's never about me. It's never about me. This chocolate and stuff, it's about a story. It's about the people that we partner with. It's about the community that's supporting us to do the packaging. And then because it's so much about the movement, the mission, the message, that people like it and I get the press opportunities. That's why I say be authentic. And this is why women are really making a huge impact out there because they really are more mission driven than money driven. Sometimes to our detriment, but that could be a little stereotypical, but I'm in it, and I am one of those people.
So Franny, did you have a mentor that told you initially right from the get-go as you were getting your business off the ground that, hey, media is really important, you should go after it? Or is this something that kind of came into focus for you over the years that you've decided to prioritize this and say, yes, this is going to be a great third-party recognition and trust building exercise for your company?
Well, I'm not self-professed much, but I came from decades in the most competitive sales and marketing force in pharmaceuticals. I kind of know what's going on. I was running a 10 million marketing territory beforehand. And when I was the first female to touch a seed and put that legally in North Carolina, I had a story and I knew it. And I've built this from the beginning on my brand, and I've grown my business like a plant with strong roots. That's why I'm here. And 90% of the businesses that did what I did when I started from 2015 in this industry are gone. They weren't growing it like a plant. I've always known this is the way to do it. This is the way for me to do it. That's why I put my name on the brand. So it's always been part of that. But a lot of people don't want that role. They don't have the voice. That businesses are structured many, many, many ways. And because I also have this farm, it's so authentic. I was like, this is a story. worth telling. You know, I've got story upon story upon story, and that's how we learn. And so I always knew that I had an obligation to stand up to be my very best, and ain't nothing like putting your name on something to make you walk your talk to every
Absolutely.
degree. Yeah.
I love that. Well, and so you've had tons of experience now with the media, but I'm wondering if you've had any unusual media experiences that you'd like to share, because there are people out there that are so afraid of things that can happen. And sometimes the unusual ones are the ones that turn out to be the best.
Well, I mean, one of the funniest is last year I got hit national press everywhere for my revival of retail. And that is because we did something that Forbes came out and said, is she crazy or is she a genius, of giving our franchisees a piece of the online business. It's a great idea, right? They do digital marketing. It builds the brand. It gives them another income stream. So smart, right? Well, and it took us 6 months in web development to bring it out.
Wow.
But they would not interview me and give me questions and let me respond to them, only live. So that says in media, why people need companies and press people to help them through this. I made a mistake early on and went live, and I ended up crying. My dad died 2 weeks before I planted my first crop, and he was a farmer. He died on a tractor accident. The press knew this. Somehow they capitalized on it. And, you know, I was caught off guard.
Of course.
Yeah, so that was I was like, I really didn't really want to cry on national TV. And I almost did at the end of my TED Talk as well. So, so there's funny things, but Forbes, and so that's what I thought was interesting, would only conduct a live interview. So I found out that is not, I was like, they're setting me up. I found out the attorney said, they might be setting you up. I would not do that. And I turned that down, because I do know there is no one silver bullet that makes anybody famous, that does anything. Again, it has to be authentic. I've been doing this my whole lifetime. You know, when I was a kid, they call me Nature Mama. And when I was in forestry school, you know, and then in pharmaceuticals, they call me the hippie in high heels. It's just what I do. I mean, thank God for cannabis and being in the cannabis space. It's how I made 4.0s through all these accelerated degrees.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
So,
me too. Amen for cannabis.
Well, the other thing I would say to you is those tiers, when you talk about authenticity, depending on where those tiers came, they may just have done even more for your authenticity. So I'm just throwing that out there. Anyway, so it's a good thing. So Jordan, let's look ahead. What are we doing next week?
Yeah, next week, episode 67, our next Move the Stairs podcast, we're going to have Greg Wilson of Hempwood. So that's going to be really exciting. Now, for what I always look forward to, Franny, when we have guests on, is talking about brand resiliency. And you mentioned it earlier in the podcast. There have been people who have opened 100 stores and they have closed 100 stores. So one of the things that we try to help our clients with is turning every challenge into an opportunity and polishing their brand reputations, which yours is stellar, by the way. So how do you go about, trying to protect your brand from the unexpected? We're going to dive into that here in this segment, Sarah.
Yeah. And I mean, Franny, it's just so obvious from anyone who knows you, or just anyone who might be exposed to you for the first time today, that you are a thought leader, somebody at the forefront of the industry. And talk about how that status helps build your business and differentiates your business from so many others that are out there.
I mean, it is it all goes back to some of the stuff that we've been building on, but absolutely, as a thought leader, it is not been comfort. I had to go outside of my comfort zone and be authentic to what my message is to help people. And so actually our PR person has been amazing. This is the type of things that y'all do. People that are finding the right opportunities for you to speak in an authentic way and in an authentic place. So I do speak all over the country for cannabis, and it is now about building your brand and retail, but it gives the credibility again, like we were talking about, third-party endorsements. You don't get to be on a stage or talk to people if you have not learned the hard way. So there's nobody up there that's what my claim to fame is. I said, I'm going to tell you, I'm the perfect example of what to do and what not to do. And I'm going to tell you. So it's really part of building the trust and loyalty. Our franchises love that. And actually, because of our brand, our franchisees are now able to be on stage and talk about what it means to be in a vertically integrated brand. What does it mean to bring a product to market? You know, these are really important lessons. It's very important for me to tell other people, if I can do it, you can do it. But it's not business as usual, and it sure as shit is not as easy as you think it might be.
Exactly. And you know, I think that authenticity and being up there on stage really is a differentiator for you. And that's a great thing. And as a thought leader, you're going to get media calls for both positive and negative stories. So I'm interested in how you handle the tough questions. And have you had any recent situations where you turned a potentially negative story into something positive?
Well, that is my really specialty. I mean, everything at one point they were like, is it toxic positivity? And I was like, absolutely not. I'm optimistic. It's
go.
not like I'm ridiculously positive.
Right.
And I'm optimistic because I have seen how I operate in this space. North Carolina was the only state that banned smokable hemp, or that was able to overcome smokable hemp outside the court system.
Right.
You know, we're doing things differently. So it is funny. I definitely have a few people out there that are out to create the negative press, but it always backfires. And that's when I learned all press is good press, you know, because I've definitely got some of that. They're like, again, is she crazy or is she a genius? And we went
Crazy
through,
smart.
There you go.
mergers and acquisitions before COVID. This was when everybody had hemp fever. Everybody was going to get rich, right before COVID. And we had companies looking to buy us. And it was very interesting. It's out for a brand. It's out for a brand. It's not a product. Everybody wants a story.
Yep.
So how do you create your story? And every story in this, it's like somebody in their family was sick, and there's, you know, the Charlotte's Web captured that story. It's kind of over for everybody else. Okay. That's not going to inspire somebody. Live your message. Okay. I mean, I've been on the brink of having everything taken away from me by the DEA, the government flying over my farm, and, you know, people that I'd gotten into business with. That's the stuff. That's real. This ain't easy, people. And
Right.
People love to know you're struggling. And I'm like, well, you know, I just make it look good, because guess what? It's all a game. It doesn't matter. Not taking any of it with me when I leave. I got nothing to do but take risk. Doesn't matter.
And I
Doesn't
think,
matter. Do what
don't
you're
you think
supposed to.
people really they want to support the underdog? That seems to be kind of the American way. So when you're talking and you're out there, and you know, you get that question, such as, you know, basically in the MJ Biz story, it was, are all CBD companies going to go under when recreational hemp is legalized nationally? You just did such a beautiful job of really talking about your story, but also talking about embracing the change. I thought that was really great.
Well, thank you. I mean, it's true. What we're looking to do is destigmatize and legalize all cannabis, just like fruits and vegetables. Some people like some of them, but most people don't like all of them. There's all sorts of things that cannabis does. It is the only plant that can feed, clothe, shelter, and provide medicine. 450,000 plants out there. That's me. And from agriculture, only one cannabis has a plant that has receptors in our body. This is about a bigger issue that is about people being able to control their own health, be able to do things for themselves, and be empowered. We not only need to free the plant, we need to free our mind and free ourselves.
Absolutely.
You know, Franny, you travel all over the country. You talk. You have, you know, you many stores in different states. So you are certainly well informed when it comes to state regulations and certainly federal regulations. So, what are you focusing on here over the next 6 months in terms of challenges and opportunities when it comes to Franny's Farmacy?
I love that question. So, multi-state operator, North Carolina, Virginia, Georgia right now, and South Carolina. We've got some big issues that we are battling legislatively with this June 30th deadline. So that is some of my stuff that is going on in that region. We are sure to get it clarified. I sat on the board of the FDA almost 2 years. And after the second year, they were no further along than they were in the first, okay? So I can tell y'all one thing right now, FDA is not doing anything this year. It will remain an unregulated market, which means that there is a lot of room for business, a lot, and illegal business. So we've also just applied for our THC license, recreational and a hybrid medical model in Connecticut. So we are optimistic. There's a lot of people that applied, and we can see that there's always going to be challenges, but that'll be our first state that we're rolling out THC in. So my biggest push, though, is federally. So again, being on the FDA and being one of the first in North Carolina, we're only one of 5 states that now is not under a state plan. We're under the federal government plan,
Right?
The USDA. So we're only one of 5 states. So just like I was at the beginning for North Carolina, that's where I am for the federal government right now, pushing it on all levels. We talk to the Senate. We're in DC. We have support lobbyists. That's where we need, because everybody else is really focused on state levels now. So I just have to do both.
It's a lot of work that you're doing.
That's right.
And again, remember, Franny, it's a collective. It's not me. Okay. So, and I always say, I, me, us, we. We are all the same.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. This is just a great interview, Franny, and we just so enjoyed having you on the Move the Stairs podcast today.
Well, it was such a pleasure, and I hope y'all enjoyed all this. This is the Investors Hall at MJ Impact, and thank you so much.
You bet.
You're welcome.
Have a fabulous
Thank you.
day, and I hope it's a very productive day for you as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, can you imagine any better ambassador for the whole
Wow.
industry than Franny? I mean, it may be, I can't remember the, I, we, us thing that you
They.
just said, but
I, we, us, they. There you go.
thank you. I, we, us. I mean, it just, but she is such an exuberant face of the industry. And, first and foremost, and you heard it throughout all of the different things that we talk about, but that authenticity, I don't think there's any bigger component of building customer loyalty than being authentic and telling your own story.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And part of that story is it's never about her. It's about the purpose-driven products that her brand is producing, and what's the story behind that? Diane, you brought up the Bon story, which was just awesome. How Franny went in, did the research, said, if I'm going to do this, I've got to do it right, and that's a story. And to have that ability to look for the needle in the haystack, which you're doing differently than other people, and then knowing the importance of being able to communicate that with media and press is just a really unique talent that Franny has and has performed really, really well.
And she talked, I loved how she said that her business was growing like a plant, but it had to have strong roots. I just thought that was very, very cool. And how optimistic she is. It's not toxic positivity, it's optimism. And finally, how she's really looking to the future and constantly positioning her company so that they have a plan, they're ready to take advantage of opportunities, but they're also prepared to move quickly in the face of any challenges, which is so much what brand protection is about. And so much so that you don't have to be one of those hundreds of companies that started and is no longer around. That's why Franny has been here for so long and is making such a difference in the industry that she gives back to on a daily basis as she builds her company. So it was just a fabulous, fabulous day.
Well, thank you again to our special guest, Franny Tacy, for joining us on the Move the Stairs podcast. And thank you for joining us. I hope some people popped in live or watched us on YouTube or are catching this later or on the podcast. Man, we're everywhere. But join us again soon. We can't wait to have you join us for the next all new episode of the Move the Stairs podcast. We'll see you soon.